Hello, everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening, where we are hopefully going to be painting this or a version of that, which is a mermaid, and I am excited to do this evening. Thank you for joining me here. Let's get a few things out of the way first, and we can touch base on these later if we need to. The paper that I'm using is Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. It's 12 by 16, I think. 11 by 14. I just look, I've got it sitting right over there, the pack of it. Comes in a nice big fat pack of 50 sheets. That's cold pressed. On my right hand side over here are my M gram paints that I like to use, and for the most part this evening I'm going to be using my King Art paint brushes. Love these brushes. They come to a nice fine point, hold quite a bit of water. Very lovely to use. Let me just get my mermaid in scene here. And with that, I think I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to paint, I think I'm going to paint some of her. And then I'll probably paint the background and then come back on with, a light layer on her, the background, and then come back in and fill in some details. But to start with, I think I need to start a flesh tone for her. I'm going to start with some quinacridone rose and move into, what do I like to use? A little bit of this gamboge makes a nice flesh tone. And I'm just going to start to layer this on here. This is going to be very light, just to get some base color in here. If I go over something, it's not going to matter. This is really a light layer. There will be time to go over with something heavier, a heavier color, a little bit later on. But I want to get some color on her and start forming her shape. So I'm just going with that. Kenya, hello. Welcome, Kenya. Always love to have you join the live stream. Thank you for taking the time to spend a Wednesday evening with me. We've got a few other people out there too. If you're so inclined, if you're sitting out there, you don't have to be a lurker. You can just say hello. I love talking to people. I love talking about, I guess, my art, but more than that, I love to talk about watercolors. So if you have a question about watercolors, or it can be about me too, my art, why I do what I do, how I do what I do, throw it out there. As I said, I do like talking about things while I'm painting. Natalie is here too. Hello, Natalie. Welcome. I hope you guys are having a good week this week. I have to say, I've been looking forward to this all day. I got into work this morning and we had a bit of an explosion, not a figurative, not a literal explosion. And it seems like everything started going off the rails a little bit. And my team and I have been pulled into doing quite a bit of work today. And it was probably 11 o'clock before I even stopped to breathe. And so I just kind of was like, I am looking forward to just sitting back and doing a nice leisurely painting this evening. And I'm glad that the both of you have come along for this journey. Now, I found this image. Let's see, where did I find this image? I think I got this image on Stock Cake, the website. And there's nothing special about this image. I wanted a mermaid kind of sitting on a rock, and I couldn't find a good image that I really liked. I was about to take an image of a rock and then find an image of a mermaid where she was kind of sitting on it. I found a great picture of a merman sitting on a rock, but I just didn't feel like doing the merman. But then I found her floating there in the water with that angelic kind of light up above her. And I just kind of fell in love with the iconic imagery there. So I'm going to try to duplicate that somehow. And I think I still might be a little strong on my wash here. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of her body here, and I'm going to do her tail. And I want some of this to blend down here where her stomach is into her tail. I'm going to pull that color up from the bottom. And that way I've got this nice graded wash. And hopefully somewhere in here I'll find the spot where I want to make a hard line maybe, or maybe I want it to be, a little bit of a variegated wash all the way up. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that. And I'm a little distressed. This is okay. I'm a little distressed. I tried to find my Daniel Smith palette, just like this one, but it has all my Daniel Smith paints in it, and I can't find it. Because it's got those cool duochrome paints in it. And I thought, that would be interesting to do on the tail. But I couldn't find it, so I'm stuck. Or she's stuck, I guess, with just, whatever I'm able to think up here in terms of paint. I thought she would really appreciate more of a shinier, kookier tail. Yeah, Kenya. Oh no. I know, right? I found, this is terrible to say, I found my Mission paints. I found my Holbein paints. I found a bunch of old palettes of paints that I put together. I found the palette of paint that I had used for the class I took a couple of years ago. Found all of those. No big deal. I have no idea where my Daniel Smith paints are. They are AWOL. They are AWOL, and I'm not happy about it. But I guess in the end, I've got nobody to blame but myself. So Sudike is here. Welcome, Sudike. Glad to see you. Thank you for taking the time to join the stream and to say hello. Hope you've been having a great week. Got a few more people who've just come in. I'll just let everybody know. I'm just kind of putting on a light wash to start with. We'll make some harder color choices later on. My general plan right now is I'm going to get some color on her tail. Of course, her body up here. And then I'm going to give it a little time to dry. I'm going to come back and do the background behind her. See if we can make that a little bit dramatic, maybe. Something like it is maybe in the reference photo. A little lighter, a little yellower up on top. Maybe see if I can get some lines in it. I'm not exactly sure how I do those lines. And then we will go back to painting her and make sure we give her all of the attention that we can. So this is just an underneath wash, and probably I should not strictly make this quite as green. I should probably not be afraid to mix in some other colors here. So I'll put a little bit of yellower color in here in a couple places. I forget about it sometimes. I just grab color and start going. I forget about it sometimes. That underpainting, if you put some interesting colors on that underpainting, you can get some really interesting effects on your overpainting. I don't know if overpainting is a real word, but we're going to use it for our context for the moment. But we can get some interesting things going on there. So just going to make sure I get some color on there. And then these fins that she has on the side of her legs. She's got two on the side of legs. Okay. On the sides of her body, her lower body down here. I'm going to paint those a slightly different color. And so I'm not painting those at the moment, but we'll get to those. And then I'm going to blend this way up. I'm just going to grab this and pull this color way up. Nice blend up here. So what has kept people busy this week? I'm curious. I think last week I was out in the studio here and it was pretty cold. This week here, it hit 81. I want my winter back. Not that I need freezing temperatures everywhere, but I'm a little disappointed that my January, it's 81 degrees outside. That seems a little excessive. If we can turn that temperature down a little bit, I'd be much happier. I don't think I'm going to appreciate the summer quite as much if I'm out in shorts and a t-shirt all winter long. So whoever controls that weather, if you could just turn it down a little bit, it would be great. Okay, and so now this is the part where I start to babble and talk a little bit and just basically try to cover up for some time. I like her. We got a little bit of a transition here. We'll, of course, do more with that later. It's a couple of nice colors of green in here. I'm going to do some fun stuff with the tail. Fun stuff. I think it's going to be fun stuff. But what I want to do is figure out how to do the background up here. And so what I really want to do is a lighter color up here, maybe a yellow and orangey color, and then bring it down. I can't do orange because as I transition into blues, and I don't have that many dark blues, it'll turn into a gray. Let's see. Kenya says, I flew to Florida today. It started to snow in Michigan when the plane was boarding, and it hasn't stopped all day. Woo! No, sunshine for you. Yeah, totally. Enjoy Florida. Now, I didn't say I wanted it to snow here. I just said I wanted it to be colder. Cooler. It doesn't have to be freezing. Just let's... Right, it doesn't have to be freezing. Let's just make it a little bit colder. Dory, come on. Where are you at? There you go. It's just, they turned the air conditioning off in my office because it's January. Why would you need air conditioning off? The heater's turned on. And it was 80 degrees in the office today because we couldn't cool it down because the heaters aren't on. So, I don't know. It's totally a first world problem, isn't it? It's a terrible problem to have. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some of the cerulean. Let's see what we can do here. What I want to do is make sure that by the time I get down here, this is dry, and that seems pretty dry enough. So let's give ourselves some time here, and I don't really want to paint around all of her hair. But I'm happy to paint over just a little bit of it. And that way we can just cover some of the ends. And I feel like I'm terrible at painting hair. And I keep trying. And someday I'll figure it out. I actually think when I first started painting, I had done some pretty good hair. And maybe I got a little cocky with it or something. But somewhere along the line, I've lost the ability to paint hair all that well. And it's coming back to haunt me that my hair painting is not quite up to snuff. All right, come on, a lot of water out here. I'm trying to hold this in center here so we can all see it, and we're not going to miss anything that I'm doing. A little bit of that cerulean. As we move out to the side, it can get a little bit darker and a little bit darker. All this in here we can get over top of. So cerulean on this side, and while I still have a wet edge over here, let me drop some color in on this side. Am I blasting through this? Am I going too fast? Somebody tell me if I am. I'm just painting and talking and painting and talking. So if I'm going too fast on this, somebody just tell me to slow it down a little bit. It will be a little hard with where we're at the moment because this area does need to go a little bit more quickly, but we'll figure it out. I'm going to mix into this a little bit of this phthalo blue and a little bit of this turquoise. I'm going to let that just come right on down the side. And I don't want this to get too super dark, but I'd be okay if it did get a little bit darker. Let's see, so in addition to it being quite warm here today, it is quite dry. It is quite dry here. And so I don't think this is going to stay wet for too long. I'm looking over here to see if that is going to keep its wet edge or not. I'm going to have to jump over there pretty quickly. There. Okay. Let's get our big brush back. Something just flashed up on my screen. I hope my stream didn't just blip out again. We've been having pretty good luck with the stream since I made those changes to the settings. I'll take the blame for those being bad to begin with. Of course I will. I'm the one who set them. Let's see. These can come on down. And hopefully I don't get this too dark too quickly up here, and it'll lighten and we'll be able to go over it. I don't want what I'm always afraid of when I do my background first is that I get my background too dark and then I really have to darken up the image, the subject, to make it look like it should. And I don't want that to happen. And I'm not sure why I told myself this was the best way to do this. I probably should have just waited till the end. It's a much easier way to do it. But I started this way, and so we're going to finish this way. I'm just turning this to try to get into all of these tight little areas. That should be about it. All right. And some more color in here. Some of this turquoise would probably be really nice everywhere around. I love this turquoise color. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Look, I'm trying to stay just on the line. So often I just kind of go over the line or just ignore the line and remake a new one, but I'm kind of staying right there, and it looks to me I don't know what's going on. Oh my Lord, that is bright. Wow. I just looked up to see what it looks like. Ooh, we might have to. That is super bright. To me, to my eye looking at it here, it doesn't look nearly that bright. We might have to put I'm going to let this dry to make sure we get a dry area. We might have to put a glaze of something to dull this down over top of this. I look up there. Holy cow, that is harsh on your eyes. Whew. That is something else. So, we'll get through it. That is, Natalie Kenya, is that burning your retinas out to see that? Wow. I never, looking at it here on my desk, it doesn't look that crazy. But I guess it is. I can see it. I can see that it is a bit crazy. But Natalie, you were thinking indigo. See, I don't think I have indigo. It's in my M-gram. Oh, it's not in my M-gram set. Oh, what set is that in? I have an indigo in my... Hang on one second. I think that's in my Holbein set. Maybe. So I uncovered these two. Uh-oh. But this one, for some reason, look, it's totally broken. I don't know how or when that happened. No, this is black. This is my whole bind set. I have black in here. I got a beautiful Prussian blue in here too. So then, is it this one? I know I have an indigo here somewhere. These are my mission paints. Oh, I don't know what's what here. Got a little puddle here. Let me take this away, and then let's look at some of these paints real quickly. Really quickly. Indigo. Let's see. That looks like black. That looks like sepia. That's a burnt umber or something. I wish you had Daniel Smith Under the Sea. I do. Somewhere. I do have it. Oh, that might be indigo right there. This one. Ooh, that might be a... Well, how different is that? That's kind of a green tint. Here's what my Payne's Gray looks like. It's definitely got a blue tint. Ooh, we might have a color to put on here, though. Yeah, that would totally tame that. Woo! Let's... Oh, wow. If I put this on here... and a little bit of this on. Now we'll be doing it as a glaze. That totally takes it down. I like that. Or I just drop that inside there. All right, okay, so we got a plan going forward. Okay, cool. We've got a plan going forward. I don't know where my M-grams are. That kind of makes me a little upset. Yeah, I have... So the interesting thing, I wanted to get a... You know how they sell all of the M-grams, or not all of them, they sell a number of the M-grams in sets of, you know, this artist put together this set of colors, and here they are, right? And you buy them, and it's a pack of 6, and they're all their own colors or something like that. I bought a specific set, and they sent me a different set, and I opened it, and I put it in my tubes, and I looked at it, and I went, this is not the set I bought. But then I already had it open, so I couldn't send it back. So I have a weird set of... I have a really weird set of Daniel Smith paints. And then I had a couple of other random ones that I put in there, but I used to use it just to paint florals with, because it had such interesting artist picks. Had such interesting stuff in it, and now I have no idea where it's at, obviously, and I'm distressed. I'm quite distressed about it. Okay, I can be distressed, whatever. Let's see what we can paint here. I'm going to make a little bit more of this flesh tone, and I'm going to add another layer onto her where there's maybe not so much light, right? So like under her chin, under here, and there's no real blue. I'm not really darkening it like that. I just want to get in here where she might be in having a shadow in here somewhere, or just a low light area. It's basically what I'm trying to get to. And let's see. So this will come down this way. down here. There's going to be some hair that grows over top or gets painted over top of some of this. And I'm going to soften these edges so she doesn't look like she's got some weird hard line like a robot face or something. I don't know how to describe it. But let's soften the edge here. Mermaids typically don't have, at least I don't think, mermaids don't typically have hard edges on their skin. It's been a while since I've seen one. I should say, living here by the ocean, there's a fairly big mermaid culture. People get a little crazy for their mermaids here. So I'm going to try to do this proud, knowing that there are quite a few people living around here. I would not appreciate it if I painted a less than stellar mermaid. So we're going to continue to try to give this a great shot. Let's see, today, I'm going to give you all the chicken report. Everybody loves the chicken report. I'm going to give you the chicken report. I came home from work today, went out to check on the girls, and both young girls laid eggs today. And that's not the interesting part of it. Although it is, they're laying a little earlier than I thought they were going to. So that's a little interesting. But the more interesting part of that is they are sisters. They're from the same brood. They look identical. One egg is like this color, and one egg is like a much darker, but a light brown. I'm like, you guys are almost exactly identical, but so different. Let's see, I had a watercolor teacher who did portraits during World War II. Wow. And he swore by using blues and purples as skin shadows. Yes. I know, I'm not that brave. I'm not quite that brave. Let's say it that way. I think if I can get some good color on here, then those blues and purples will totally come into play, and we can put on a much lighter layer of them and they'll look good. Blues are, so I should, I'm not just saying this out of the blue. I'm just mostly saying this out of the blue. One of the assignments I had for the I guess I took the one course 2 times, but in the course that I took, we did flesh tones, and it was really interesting. You have to be careful with some of those blues when you're doing it, because sometimes they contrast so weird, and they really do look a bit weird. And sometimes you use them and you go, oh, why wouldn't I have used that for everything? It looks fantastic. But I think we're just getting on a few lines here. So I think we're going to be okay with doing it this way. I'm not... Kenya, you're not brave enough to paint people or portraits at all. People are hard. You really gotta be brave to do people, not because here's my 2 cents about painting people. It's not because people are hard to paint. People are exactly as hard to paint as everybody else. What's hard is you have to get the proportions right, and so much of that is in your drawing. In my opinion, if you don't get your drawing right, then your people never are going to look right. Everything's going to be just a little off, and it looks really weird. Now, it is you're going to say, well, but you got to have everything else right too. And yes, you're right. You absolutely do have to have everything else right too. But if what you're starting with is wonky, you got no chance to get anything else right. It's so hard. It's so hard. In fact, it's too. Why am I doing this then? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go back to painting birds. This is too hard. You know what? And she's getting bright too. I'm going to have to use a purple to tone it down anyways. And I'll tell you, I'm using way too big of a brush. But she is getting some dimensionality on her arm here, a little bit. That's a good thing. I do like that. Let's see. Get a little bit more water in here. So as I get a little self-conscious, I'm painting around her shells. I'm like going, nah, how big is a shell? I don't know. I think we're going to be okay with this. Let's let that come down a little bit. So does she have a little bit of contour on her body now? I hope a little bit. I think I've messed her face up here. And really what I think. Let's see if I get a little bit. Up under here. All right, so I'm at least a little happy that she's a bit oranger than I would like. But I'm at least happy that she's got some dimension to her at the moment. Oh, and you know what? At the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get a cool green and I'm going to start giving her some dimension down on the bottom half down here. And give me time to think about what's going on up there. Because I'm a little afraid. I'm a little afraid of it, but we're gonna get it going. See, Natalie says, sadly, I never took an official class from him. Oh, that's too bad. I did model for a few times, and he was my customer when I did hair until he passed. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but that watercolor class could have been really cool. Well, at least you got to talk to him about it, though. Let's look at it that way. There was some coolness in that. All right, part of her leg right there. I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to jump all over here real quickly. I'm going to come... I'm going to come down here like this. I'm going to try not to... I'm going to try desperately not to put my hand in any wet paint. And I'm going to work on her tail. Now I am using a bit of phthalo blue, and so I really have to be fast with it because it is a staining color. And if I'm not fast with it, it's going to bite me. That's the biggest problem with phthalo green, I guess I should say. I'm not using phthalo blue, I'm using phthalo green. That's the biggest problem with using phthalo, is that it stains and it's unforgiving. But I like the effect on her tail down here. And then this comes up this side a little bit. And I think when that dries, that's going to look pretty nice. At least that's my hope. A little darker in here. If I need to add a little bit more color down here, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Or you know, maybe we're just finding that I don't do people or people adjacent beings very well, and maybe I should stick to birds. I don't know. I don't know. Jennifer's here. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for coming and saving the day. What's going on in your world? I would say that I'm drowning, but I can't. I don't know. I'm trying to think of any aquatic type jokes. I guess that one just sunk. Ha ha. Oh, that's terrible. I'll stop while I'm behind. Well, I'm really behind. All right, let's see. I've got to kind of stay away from some of this other stuff. See, I'm going to paint this little bit right under this fin here. And then that can come down, and we'll start to finish a little of this flu bug around the house, but you're still alive. Oy vey. You take care of yourself. Whatever it is going around, strain of the flu or something else, boy, it's hitting hard out here. So many people that I know have had to call off sick over the past few weeks. One person gets it, then the next person gets it, then the next person gets it. One of the guys who works in the group I work in, we have different zones that we work with. He got it. A couple people in his zone got it, but he got it, and not only did he get it, he got it from one of his kids. I gave it to another one of his kids, who gave it to him, who gave it to his wife, and then I think they all started doing it all over again. He's been out for 2 weeks, just passing whatever it is going around. Your story seems a bit fishy. Oh. All right. See, we're getting a little bit done on her tail down here. Come on, I want to let this come up and around. What I should have done is just gotten this whole thing wet and gone, I'll figure it out. Just started pushing paint around everywhere. It's probably what I should have done. Because in essence, it's wet now, and I've got to move that paint around anyways. All right, what do we have here? I'm a little reluctant to put some blue in my color here, but I might have to on the back side of her leg back here. Looks like you have netted a I have I don't know. I just decided I would do it, and if it was good or if it was bad, it was just going to be sink or swim, one of the two. That's all. She sings in scales. Oh. So I was gonna say, and I don't know. Yeah, I've already ruined it by saying I was gonna say this. Hang on a minute. I think I hear a siren. You see, but I don't know. I don't know what the difference between a mermaid and a siren is. I know they're both sea creatures of some sort, but I don't know the difference. So I don't know if that's a good joke or not. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a little bit of purple into here. A little bit of alizarin crimson and a little bit of cobalt blue. Let's make our purple that way. Hope you're not shell shocked. All right. I'm going to drop down a brush size here too. I can't laugh and paint at the same time. That's a character flaw. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's see what we've got. Oh, I can't. I'm going to do this. Okay, a little bit of this color underneath here. And let's just see how this looks. I hope it's going to bring her color a little bit more in line. I hope it will. And if it doesn't, you know what? Well, it's the distortion of the water. That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And if it works, it was all my idea. If it doesn't work, Natalie was the one that suggested it. Everybody heard it. She finished. Sirens are not necessarily pretty. They lure people in with their song. Well, I'm not done painting her, so we don't really know if she's pretty or not. She might end up being hideous. We don't know. We don't have any idea. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But yeah, I think the addition of that little bit of purple in there. No, she's going. I can't. This isn't. It's not a fair fight. I'm busy trying to paint and think at the same time. That's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Let's see. It's a darker area, especially in her fingers here. Yeah, that little bit of purple, I think, is really going to help. But what I'm really kind of curious about is if I put on that indigo, or what I think is indigo, as a background, this. All right, what's that going to look next to that color? And I don't know the answer to that, but I know that I've touched her shell here, and it has run a little bit, and I'm afraid to touch it because I don't want to mess that paint up. So we might have to come back and do a touch-up here, and it might just make it fantastic. I don't really know. I'm afraid that this is going to be one of those paintings. I'm not really afraid that it's going to be like that, but I'm going to say it this way. This is going to be one of those paintings that looks really bad. You look at it and you go, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then you get 90% of the way, 95% of the way done, and you go, hey, you know what? That's not that bad. Yeah, I think I can live with that. I think that's going to be okay. These puns are putting you in a tail. Oh, a tail. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just going to rename my channel the Punny Hour. We'll deal with it on the backside. It's the Punny Hour. Okay. It's wet. That's wet. That needs to not to be so wet. I got these fins on the side that I need to do something with. I got this her tail here. I guess that's dried up. I can do something with that. Let's do some on her tail here. Jennifer, thanks for coming in and adding a little bit of levity. See, I get the room and we descend into chaos. That's fun. That's fun. A little chaos is allowed. I'm allowing it tonight. I needed it a little bit. Today was a bit of a tough day. I mean, it's not a tough day, but not the most enjoyable day. Paint and puns. There you go. Yeah, I like it. That's a new opener. Paint and puns. Now it's time for paint and puns. Paint and puns. Paint and puns. Paint and puns with Michael. I have a whole opener that I don't use. I don't know if opener is the right term actually, but it's what I call it. A whole opener that I don't use. I made up when I started using Chat GPT. We're scaring any people. I don't think you're scaring anybody off. I made all these new openers, and I'm like, I'm gonna change things up, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to have some fun with things. And a long time ago, probably, I'm going to say 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I used to do on Friday nights or Saturday nights, and I don't even remember which it was. I would do wine and watercolors. And I was like, this is going to be the coolest thing, right? I live in wine country. I'll see if I can get some, winemakers to. In fact, I should revisit that. I'll see if I can get them to donate some wine, and we'll talk about the different parts of wine or the flavors and whatnot. Then I'll have a little wine and we'll paint some watercolors. Everything will be great. This will be fun. It'll be a great thing. And I did that for a while, but after I was introduced to Chat GPT, I was like, well, I wonder what Chat GPT can make up for me. Let me just give him. I call him Chad. Let me give Chad some parameters and see what he can do for me here. So I was like, I used to do wine and watercolors, and ChatGPT is like, oh, that's a great idea. You should do something similar. I'm like, okay, cool. Make me something for beer and brushes. And okay, so I have this whole cold open of everything that is not, it is not wine and watercolors. It's all beer and brushes. I've got the intro, I've got music, I've got everything that goes along with it, and it's actually pretty funny. So maybe I'll start that back up. Wine and watercolors, or beer and brushes, or whatever we want to call it, on the weekend. That would be fun. That would be kind of fun. All of it's fun. All of watercolor painting is fun. It's just what you want to do. It's just work. That's all. It's just work. It's just work. Quite honestly, I don't do too much with stuff like that because it gets to be work-ish, and I have a job. And I'm very adamant that I don't want two jobs. I do this because it's fun to do, and I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy, you guys joining in. But if I had to do this, if I was forced to do this every week, I don't know if it would be fun or as fun anymore. So I haven't really pursued stuff like that in a while. But it might be fun to do. I'm trying to get some of my friends and coworkers to come on here with me, and none of them want to do it. I don't understand. I'm like, come on, it'll be fun. We always have fun on here. At least I think it's fun anyways. I hope you guys think it's fun. To some extent, you must. Everybody keeps coming back a little bit. Right? It must be a little bit of fun. When I do my art, I won't even sell it. I won't even sell it. It changes everything. I don't sell my art. I give I have sold art. Mostly I just give it away. What is the latest one? I just put up in our office. I feel bad for everybody I work with, right? Because they got to put up with my art stuff all the time. And so I just put up in my office an old painting that I had done of a mallard duck. Right? So the mallard duck part is the easy part of the painting. The hard part of the painting is that the duck's neck is a saguaro cactus. So it's a duck body, it sits there, and then it's got a neck that's, so tall, and it's got arms that grow out of it, just like, it's a saguaro. I thought it was hysterical. I put it in the office, and one of the women I work with was like, she's like, I might have to move that picture into my office. She's like, I actually really like that. I'm like, yeah, fine. I'm like, fine, it's okay. Can you give yours away too? You know what? I've sold a lot of pieces, but in the end, if anything I do can bring some joy to somebody, I'd much rather it bring that joy to people rather than me hold on to it for however long to try to make a sale and do that kind of stuff. And just get it out there and let somebody enjoy it. It makes them feel good. It makes me feel good. I just like it so much more when somebody can enjoy it like that. All right, trying to add some darkness down here on the bottom of the tail. More blue, less green. Really dark down here. Even those dark green colors. As I do this, right way down here, and trying very hard not to put my hands in any wet paint, as I do quite often. As this comes up, we can modify that color a little bit so it's more green. The greens I'm using over here, maybe I haven't said anything about the greens I'm using over here. The greens I'm using, I have 3 greens on my palette. If nobody knows, 3 greens on my palette. I have a cobalt green, which is the one furthest that way, as you're looking at the palette. And I like that. It is a little granular, so I'm often a little careful with it, but I like it. It mixes pretty well with a lot of other colors. That looks way too dark. Then I have in the middle my phthalo green, which I'm a big fan of. It mixes so well with others, but by itself, it's awfully harsh. It's a bit bright. Anybody who's trying to replicate my palette and they don't like phthalo green, you could always throw in some Viridian. I'm not as big a fan of Viridian, but you could totally use Viridian in its place. And then I guess I've got 4 greens there, don't I? The next green is olive green. I don't have olive green because it's such a fantastic color or anything like that, but when I put this palette together, I was doing a lot more landscape paintings, and the green, that olive green along with the cobalt green, really look like a lot of the greens that happen in my part of the country for the vast majority of the year. So they stay there. And then the last one I have is green gold, or azo green. It's azo green in the Graham world. It's green gold in the Daniel Smith world. But it's this crazy yellow green color there. Sadika says, I had landscape photos I took hanging on the wall of my cubicle when I retired. People are like, took them all. There you go. We took them. Did you want them to? I'm assuming that means you approved of them taking those paintings. They didn't just walk in and go, okay, you're out of here, I'm taking this away. Or, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Usually that doesn't happen that way, but I've been wrong before. Let's see, a little green up here. Let's bring that down around that fin. Maybe even a little darker blue just underneath there. Come on, give me just a big blast of blue right there. All right. Good. I can blend this, and it's a bigger area for me to blend color into, but this is going to end up looking good. I think she's going to end up looking really nice. I do. I'm not going to let her look bad. She's going to end up looking good. Some way, shape, or form. She's going to end up looking good here. So I'm going to take just a little bit of some blue color, and I'm going to separate. So I don't quite understand. Anybody who's versed in in mermaid lore can tell me. I know that when they come out of the water, because I saw this documentary on it a long time ago. It was weird. It had Tom Hanks in it. But I saw this documentary. So these are actually legs underneath there. But evolutionarily speaking, somehow those legs go into a tail. I'm not quite sure how that happens. But I'm going to kind of go with it for a little bit. Let's see what happens. There we go. She's starting to look better. That's sad color. Less stuff for me, too, to carry when I left for last night. Okay. Let's see. The sad thing was that I was the only one who had colored my cubic. Oh, that is sad. Splash. I think that was the name of that documentary. I think that was it. That's where that mermaid kept trying to get in the bathtub. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. All right, what do I need to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start doing some of her hair here. That's your favorite documentary. Good. Good. I'm going to start some of her hair here. And what I'm hoping is... what I'm hoping is that I can put on a couple of layers of color here. And it's not going to look garish or terrible or whatnot. I'm going to start with yellow ochre. Okay, I'm going to start with yellow ochre, and that's going to be the base of her hair, and then we're going to come back on top of it in some areas, and we'll put in some burnt umber or something else like that. But I want to, at least in some areas, start laying in where I think her hair needs to go. I don't want to let it go too far without doing some of this. So you saw, Kenya, you saw that documentary too, right? No, it wasn't a movie. Siddiq, it wasn't a movie. It was a documentary. No, I'm sure it was a documentary. It was all about mermaid lore. It has to have been a documentary. But we can debate the merits of that documentary. We're all showing our age. And what I'm hoping is that when this color, comes out into the water, it looks just kind of as though the hair is so light that it's a slightly different color. And also, so it gives an opportunity to see what her hair looks like next to her body. She's got some floaty hair that comes out here. side and a little bit of that hair on this side too. I actually think I do better doing it backwards some of the time. Doing the ends first. And then painting in the body of everything. That's not that hair. And then, as you can imagine, everywhere that I didn't paint water is definitely going to be darker, a darker area in here, right? We're going to have to cover some of that up. All right. Oh, she's got, man, wow, she's got a lot of hair. Ooh, a lot of hair. Do all mermaids have that much hair? Should look that up on Wikipedia. All right, so her hair doesn't look that bad. What hairspray do mermaids use? Aquanet. Aquanet. There you go. Oh, hey, Susie is here. Hello, Susie. You haven't missed anything other than some bad jokes. All the bad ones were by me. And some questionable painting, also by me. Also by me. Let's see. I'm gonna take her hip up here a little bit. I'm gonna let this come up. Oh, like that. I think. Susie, I hope you've had a wonderful week. I don't know, something like that. I'm going to define, I don't know what you call the scale ends, the tail end. It's Aquanet. No. No, we have, they still make Aquanet. I have some in my house. It's still a thing. Okay, before I do too much more with this, I'm going to grab this and we're going to put a wash on here. Let's see, I'm going to turn this way. Maybe you guys can see. I believe this was the color we thought was that indigo color, and we're gonna knock this color down here a little bit. It is pretty bright. Dory, you need to go somewhere else for a moment, and let's just see. Look, it's not even sticking. We don't want to take all of that color away, so I don't want to put it on super heavy. I just want to knock off a layer of that super brightness that's on it. Right? She's got to be at like 20,000 leagues under the sea. So it can't be that bright. I think that was another documentary, wasn't it? 20,000... I hate to be a mermaid in ocean bathwater. Is that water sanitary? It looks questionable. It's I don't know. I don't know that. It may not be. It may not be, but I do like what I'm seeing there. It has knocked that brightness down a peg or two. Natalie, fantastic idea with the indigo. I think that was you. Whoops, I just went over her tail. I don't want to do that. All that paint, get off of there. think what I need is a different brush. And this one is really big. The one that I'm using, it's actually pretty good for these giant washes like this, if you're going to use it that way, because it holds so much water or so much paint. You can just do whatever you want to with it. There we go. So if you're looking at that, how does that side look as opposed to that side? It does look darker. It looks, I mean, it's not black and white, but that's okay. It just doesn't have that huge, massive, super bright look. When we first put it on, that was a bit much. You like how I did that? I said when we first put it on. Deflecting from the fact that I alone did it. Journey to the Bottom of the Earth is another well-known documentary. There you go. Yeah, all kind of good documentaries back in the day. These don't make as good of documentaries anymore. They just don't. They're not nearly as nice. I don't even know what the last documentary I saw was. Quite honestly, I think the last documentary I saw was about this guy that they hooked up to all this machinery, and they made him change the laws of physics or something like that. And there were these bad guys, and they were on this ship, and they traveled through the sewers, and he kept seeing green numbers that would fall from the sky. Did anybody see that documentary? It would travel all around the world in his inside of his mind, but it was real. I think when they filmed it, it was a documentary about Keanu Reeves. Let's see. Journey to the bottom of the, or Journey to the center of the earth. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. If you're a flat earther, it would be the bottom. Yeah, it's true. All right. Let's pull some of this up. Let's pull this up even further. Okay, cool. So now we've got something really light up here, a little darker, a little murkier down here. Good, that could have been kind of scary. If we need to put another glaze of that on, we can do that in a minute or two. Oh, but let's see. I need to see what we need to do with her. I think so I'm looking at her, and I don't have a problem with the way she's looking, and quite honestly, I'm a little curious what just a bit of darker hair is going to do. But I think what I need to do before that is go back once again and go into our dark areas. Okay, here's something I can point with. Right, this area. So, you guys didn't even see the reference photo in bigness. There's the reference photo. So if you see under her armpit, the one you can see, it's quite dark under there. And that dark really helps set off her arm, which is in front of, I don't know, the top of her torso there, or side, whatever that is. Her other arm, her left arm, right back where it tucks in behind her body, is quite dark back there, and we don't quite have those darks in there yet, and so we need to get that going. Is that a splatter on her shoulder? Ooh, it's a mole. It's not a it's a beauty mark on her shoulder. That's what it is. It's not a splatter. I wouldn't flat earthers think about the birds aren't real people. I like the birds aren't real people. I think that's my favorite of all of the conspiracies, because it's just so kooky. It's just so kooky. I think it's my favorite. So if we use something that's maybe even a little bit more biased towards purple, and we'll throw some of this burnt umber in there too, we get something that is pretty dark. Let's give it a try. Of course, now everything's wet. Right, and just enough to give some really good definition under here. That kind of set her arm off a little bit. I like that. Right, I've got this area right in here that needs to be really dark. And we're starting to build this up. Give me some more of this color. Alizarin crimson, cobalt blue, burnt umber. How are we going to do this one? We got some quite a dark area right under here. Right under that hand. Like that. Let's pull that out right away. I don't want that to sit in there. And okay, let's give a couple of darker shadows here to set off these fingers a little bit. Are we starting to get it a little bit? I hope. A little bit. I think we are. It's getting there. I'm going to give her just a little line here to denote that chin. And you know what? I'm going to give her a little bit back here because she's got an ear back there. Lots of dark area. Now this is an underwater mole. It's an underwater mole. An underwater mole. It's absolutely an underwater mole. Let's give her some lips. Red, but not like blasting, blazing red. I don't think we need to do that. She's probably got a belly button right there. And I'm going to take some more of our normal color. See that? Give me some of that. Make it a little darker. And I am a little concerned, but that's okay. We're going to get past my concern. She's going to turn out fantastic. I'm just glad I don't have to tell people I've been painting the human body, because there's no proof that I actually have been painting a human body. Yeah, I've been using the wrong brush to do this whole time. So much easier with this a little bit smaller brush here to do some of this blending work. So much easier. All right, she's getting a little bit of detail on her. I'm going to bring this color down. Right, her whole side over here can be in a little bit of shadow. Okay, I think I like that. I like that a lot better than it was 5 minutes ago. I like that a lot better than it was 5 minutes ago. Kind of okay with most of her face here. I don't like to put too much detail in any face when I paint it. Not just because it's hard, but because I don't know. I think there should be some kind of mystery to it a little bit, if that makes any kind of sense at all. And now I'm gonna put some darker color on here. And so, right, as it gets out to the end of her strands of her hair, it should start to look, it's getting some light in it. It should radiate a little bit more. But also, because I've got this burnt umber, because I've got this yellow ochre underneath it, it should have this gold undertone to it, and it should help it look better. At least that's my thought. I'm terrible, like I said before, I'm terrible with hair. And I am going to come back and do one more thing on this hair and add some better definition on here. So this is a second layer on the hair. So stick with me. It's not done. There will be more that hopefully really sets it off even more. I don't think that's too bad, right? And that really helps lighten up her hand. No, hair definitely is not easy. That helps lighten up her hand right there. Should do something similar here and help to lighten up a lot of this other stuff. Hair might be the hardest thing to paint. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that are seemingly difficult to paint. But if you had to narrow it down, something that's very hard for everybody universally to paint, I think hair would be high on everybody's list. I just do. Here, I'll cover up her mole right there. How's that? But with any luck, right, it should look, all right, I'm kind of okay with that. Kind of okay with it. I don't know if it's exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, but I don't think I hate it. And I think when we go in and put in some really darks in here, I think it'll be okay. Okay, and when I'm done here, and I'm done here. Okay, so cool. Actually, if we just covered it up right there, that's not so bad. You look everything down there, we got some work to do. We've definitely got some work to do. How long have we been at this? Oh, an hour and a half. I need a drink of water here. An hour and a half. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, we got to get these other fins on here. I'll do these nice and light. All right, this really lively green color, cobalt green, and I was going to do them blue. I think I want to keep with green. Cobalt green and Hansa yellow or naphtha yellow. It's really a cold yellow is more than anything else is what this is. Just a really cold yellow. Give me some of that cobalt green. We'll do this. Good deal coming in there. I think next week I won't paint a human figure-ish kind of thing. I think next week I'm going to paint a penguin pirate. All right, a penguin dressed up to be a pirate. I'm just going to announce that right now. I'm going to paint a penguin pirate next week. I think that will be fun. Has been approved by my kids. They seem to like it. They think it's acceptable to paint. So I think we'll go with that next week for anybody who's curious. I've got it pre-drawn already. And that will be fun. Now I've got it's like I've got a line down here. Look, when that water pushed it around, look, it gave it a weird line down there, and I don't like that. So now I've got to get that weirdness out of there. And we've got some other stuff to do here. All right, let's get some colors on here. I can make this a little thicker right there, maybe. Something like that. Maybe I should be looking at my reference photo. Sometimes I don't like to look at my reference photo. Sometimes I do like to look at it, and sometimes I don't like to look at it, because if I look at it, then I want to paint it. If I stick with my, if I look at the reference photo that I did my drawing from, if I look at my drawing of my reference photo, then I'm like, okay, then I just do what's in my brain. Both of them have their highs and lows. If I do them wrong, then I know you're going to say my ship would be sunk. I don't want that. I don't want to have a sunk ship. So I'm going to guard against that. Let's see. You got to have a dark line on both sides of everything you do. If you don't have roundness. So we've got a dark line right there. Let's pull that out just ever so slightly. Just come on out. Yeah, I think I got some of this color on here is either a little too thick, or I'm not utilizing the paper properly. And I suspect I'm not utilizing the paper properly. I don't want to blame what's there on the paper. The paper's fine. I think I didn't use it exactly the way it should have been used. Get a little bit of this lighter color. All paper is fine. You just have to know how to utilize it to get what you want out of it. That's all there is to it. I think this is how I should have been doing it to begin with. Just put some water on there, and then put some color on there, and let the color and the water figure it out on their own. Let the color and the water figure it out. They probably know what they're doing more than I know what I'm doing. Well, let's see if we can get some of this. This is a bad time to introduce a new color, but let's see if we can get a little bit of this azo green in here. That's a bit of a fun color. Let's get this up around her hip. Come on. Right up there. All right. Okay, I think it's starting to look better. I like the direction it's going a little bit more now. That sounds so weird to say. I like the direction it's starting to go now, an hour and a half into the painting. I think we're starting to get there. That's all right. That's all right. Because she's going to turn out fantastic. She's going to turn out really nice. And I'm probably going to hang her on the wall in my office. She'd be great. Fantastic. Okay, I like that. That's a little wet, so got to not do anything there for just a moment. gonna give a little bit of color right around her thumb here. All right. Now I got some shells we need to paint a little bit more. I'm guessing the shell is something like that, right? That's not exactly how it's going to go, but all right, how much can there be to painting a shell? It's a shell. Are you guys still with me? How many? Oh, we got a few more. We've got a few extra people here. So we're closing in on the end of this one. We got a little ways to go. We got a few extra. The dark colors are beautiful. These darks in here, they're getting there, right? They're starting to get there. Got a few extra people coming in here now, and we're kind of closing in on the end of it. We got a little while to go, maybe a half hour or so. But I just want to make, I just want to throw this out there. If you're new to the channel, say hi if you're stopping in. Would love to hear from you. I like to talk while I'm doing some painting, and I'd rather talk about what you guys want to talk about rather than talk about what I'm going to talk about all the time. Although I don't have a whole lot of problems about talking about what I want to talk about. I'm okay with that too. But you all might find it a little more exciting talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. So those of you, if you're brand new here, say hello. Let's talk about something. I'm happy to do that. I like to know where people are from when I talk to them too. So if you're willing to say where you're tuning in from, that's awesome too. Still here. Thank you, Natalie. And I'm going to give a few darks here on her hair. Well, there's a few places that it's still kind of wet. Right, I don't want to cover everything up with this dark. Don't be shy. We aren't. I don't want to cover everything up with dark in here, but I do want to add a few darks, right, to give some texture to her hair. And I hope you can see kind of what I'm doing there. And if you can, that's awesome. If you could just clue me in so I know what I'm doing, that'll be even better. But just a few lines here and there to suggest, there's some texture to her hair rather than just everything being one color or whatnot. Right? And if it gets a little fatter in one area, or if these areas come together a little bit, so be it. That's okay too. I got a whole shell up here I got to paint now too. Shoot, I forgot all about that. Sometimes these little bits of more color together, right? These bigger areas and a few more individual areas in there really can help with your hair, making it seem like there's a lot there. It's not all going to help, but some of it. All right, we got some shells to do, and I like the way her leg now is coming out. It's coming together. It's starting. We definitely got to do a little work down here, but all of a sudden that leg looks better. It comes up her hip and around her hip that little bit. I like the way that one's looking better. It's better. It's so much better. We got this little curlicue shell here. I'm going to put just some basic color on that. And you know what? I'm going to make this a little bit more on the red side too. I'm going to add a pop of color here. It's still going to be a little muted, but a little red to it. And we're going to have to come back and give it that curlicue in just a second. All right, okay. It's getting there. It's actually getting there. It's coming together. So I have to decide now. This shadow, as it comes down her leg, where's it get more shadow at, and where's it get less shadow at? I'm going to give it more shadow over here. Give me some more of that green gold. That looked nice when it went on there. More down here. All right. Yeah, by the time we get down to the curl down here, I'm starting to think, as I'm thinking about it, maybe we don't need a whole lot of light there. This can all be mostly dark down here. I don't know. I think we don't need all of those lighter spaces. Oh, and I want to ask, I'm fascinated with this. My wife got me going on this. I used to be a big, this is not the right way to say this, but I'm just going to say it, a big Black Dahlia fan, right? I have one of my chickens named after the Black Dahlia. But fan isn't the right word, right? I was hoping to see the solve of that case, the Black Dahlia case, and I followed it for a long time, hoping that I'd ever see that. And now, it all started when I read a book called Black Dahlia Avenger, something like that. It doesn't matter. It was written by Steve Hodel, who was a former LAPD police detective, and he thought his father was the Black Dahlia killer, and put this book out. It had some pretty compelling evidence for why it was his father. And even if it wasn't his father was not a very nice person. And Michael Connelly, who has written many novels, actually endorsed the Steve Hodel solution to the murder. Well, now Michael Connelly has a podcast out, and I'm expecting he will have a book out about it at some point, where he thinks it was not Steve Hodel, and he thinks some guy has solved it, and the Black Dahlia killer and the Zodiac killer were the same person. And I'm listening to the podcast, and I'm totally fascinated by it. Has anybody else heard that? There's anybody else a true crime person? I know I've asked that before, and I don't really remember the answer. But I've started listening to it, and I've already gone through in in 8 hours, 10 hours. I've already gone through the entire podcast. Because I had to listen to one after the other. I couldn't stop. Couldn't stop listening to it. And the theory is absolutely fascinating. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but it's completely fascinating. Is anybody do true crime? I've not heard of that theory. So the podcast is called Killer in the Code, and it's only 4 or 5 episodes right now, and he's releasing one every week or something like that. But it's pretty fascinating, and I don't know. I'm certainly not one to say if he's right or if he's wrong, but just like with the other theory, he's making a pretty good case for it. So I don't know, but I'm completely fascinated by it. You know, I'm gonna put a little bit of blue in here. I just want to set this off a little bit of blue. That might really help. Interesting. Last week, Natalie, you said that this new size paper was working better, and I'm looking, I can't see that. Oh, I think it's because I have it this way and not this way, but I've given her some stripes on her tail there to help her look, help it look good. She's got a shell in her hair up here too. Let's get this shell in there. And these shells have some lines that need to be put on them. A couple lines. Let's see, necklace. Necklace has to have a band, right? There's a band there. We need to give her some stripes on this one. I just followed that podcast. You'll give a listen. Okay, Kenya, next week I want to hear what you think about it. It's an interesting, I'll give you my 2 cents right now, and this isn't going to affect your listening to it in any way, shape, or form. But it's always funny when you listen to it and who's ever recording it goes, "Oh, well, we got this professional to listen to it, and they totally agree with us, so you should totally agree that we have the right solution too." And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it works that way. You got a couple of people to agree with you, and your solution sounds good, but I need to listen to the whole thing to figure it out. But I'm fascinated by it. I don't know why. It all started with Elizabeth Short in 1947. I'm trying to think. My dad was 3 in 1947. And he lived in Michigan. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have even followed that case. Well, no, I can say with all actuality, I'm sure, because he hates that kind of stuff. But it's totally fascinating. Oh, we got she's got a shell here too. Let's see. Let's give her a blue shell up here. Earring. All right. How do we look? How's it look? It's actually not that bad. It's not completely terrible. I like it. I like it. I think it was a little dubious at the beginning. The more we started layering some things up, I think the better it's gotten. In a few areas where there's a mark, but I'll tell you what I do like is if you look at her leg here and in here, some down here, it's got that cool watercolory soft look where the color fades in and fades out. She's actually got some of it on her torso here too, and I think that's fascinating. I love that look. That's one thing I really like about watercolors is you get that just that soft gradient into everything. See, I'm trying to think if I do more. So this is where I need to be right now. If I do more, let's divide this into two. If I do more on this section, what am I going to do that's going to make that look better in the short term? Can I add a little bit more over here? I probably can. It's a little damp, so I can't. But I probably could extend this shadow line out a little bit. Maybe up to here or so. I could probably do that. I think it would make it look a little better. Make it dark here and light here. Come up to dark over there. I actually like the fins. So I can do that. Up here, the top half, I don't want to get into specific details in her face. I've done a lot of faces, and I would prefer to leave it a little vague. Right? You can see her face there. Actually, you can see more of her pencil line on her. It makes her nose look a little strange. Maybe I could tighten up her lips a little bit. Might make that look a little better. Could probably tighten up this shell in her hair. This might make that look a little bit better. But I'm not gonna do much with her hair. Her hair looks to me like it's flying all over the place, right? I can almost imagine as I see it, the hair just goes out like this. You know, mine does the same thing. Look at the swimming pool, right? So it looks kind of like it's floating, and the fact that we've got some lighter and some middle tones and some darker tones in there, I like that. Maybe it's a little stylized on the hair, but I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. Could we give her a little more definition on the seashells here? Maybe, but I don't think they detract from it. I think they're fine. So everything there up, I'm kind of okay with. And I can't get in to do anything here because it's just a little bit damp. And actually, if you look at it, as I'm looking at it up on the screen up there, if I look at it here too, what it looks like to me is that this leg is round, and it's round past her knee, and then it looks like it flattens out down here, right? Like it gets narrower. Like it's no longer round, it just goes burp, it gets flat, and then comes back to round. That's what it looks like to me through here. Round, 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 flattens out, and then maybe rounds back up and then flattens out for her tail again. Never behave, Jennifer. So many I must behave. Kenny says, I think I'd make the water very dark on the bottom and fade up to a lighter blue at the top. So you're saying another wash of a dark down here. That's probably not a bad thing. Let's do that. Let's do that, and then we'll call that a good. We'll put a new wash on. It'll fade up. The question is, do we go with this same color again, Or do we... You know what? I think I got it. Oh, actually, give me 1 second. I think I got a solution. I need 1 second, though. Well, maybe like 8 seconds. I've got some colors here. You know, I've got colors. And it's not in here. I'm just going through. I got these little Tupperware things or Gladware things. Just like keep my colors in. No, and I think I have. There it is. Anthraquinone blue. Anthro blue. Okay, so let's watch this. I need something to mix it on. I guess since this is broken, I can use this. I'm gonna move my chair up here because, as I remember it, this is quite a dark blue. And whoa, that's a lot. So if we take that blue and put it over top of what we've done before, that might be too blue though. You know? What if we take that and that with a little Payne's gray, that's not so bad. Let's do that. Let's do that. A little Payne's gray in here. Okay, I got to turn her upside down and hope I don't give her another mole. That would be catastrophic. Some of that Payne's gray, and we're going to hope for the best. Whose idea was this? Kenya. Oh, Kenya. Okay, here we go. So you want to see something really dark at the bottom. And that we're going to lighten with as we go up. So I'm naming this one the Kenya Glaze. And it's darker for sure. My fingers are crossed. I'm sure it will be totally fine. Totally fine. My concern is trying to get around all of this stuff with this my giant brush here. Probably got enough paint. We can start to lighten this as we go up. A little bit. I guess if we get a little back run in there, that's just C. And it's not that big of a deal, right? All right, and I got to turn it this way to get into here. That's probably close enough. And as we come up here, add a little bit more water. And blend it up. Blend, blend, blend. All right, there's half of it, Kenya. What do you think? Does it get the Kenya seal of approval? Actually, I kind of like it. Come on. I kind of like it. It does look like she's in deep water. A little bit more of that gray in there. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to get really close right up to her tail so I can get rid of all of the look of any of that lighter blue as we're doing this. And push that up. So one of those times when I feel like I have to be quiet. I can't talk. I'm trying to be quiet and not, do anything that's going to cause it to get all goofy and messed up. Yeah, you know what? Kenya, good call. Good call. I think this is one of those times I would have not done that. This is funny because I always talk about pushing colors a little bit, but I'm always a little leery on backgrounds. But I think I would not have done this if it was just me. And I would have hung it up on my office wall, and every day I looked at it, I would have gone, you know what? I should have made it darker. I should have just made it darker. And then you were just like, yeah, you should just make it darker. And you were pretty much right. Pretty much spot on. Want too much water. I don't want to get too much of her hair and get too much of her hair blended out over there. Okay, and I think one extra spot here I'm pretty sure I need to do. But it's nice with that little yellow spot up there. Ooh, it just blends up. It doesn't look out of place to have that dark here and a lighter up there. I'm trying to get so much water on this brush. This is the Casaneo brush, and I'm not used to using it. So, yes, I'm kind of making an excuse, but it holds so much water. Come on, turn around. And this is one of those times where if you don't have that background exactly right, maybe some mottled color in there a little bit, maybe a little bit of background. It doesn't matter because it's the ocean. It doesn't matter. Or at least that's the story you can tell everybody. Okay, look. Oh, it does. It looks good. It looks great. Okay, you know what all that means is next week, Kenya is leading the group in a painting. I'm giving up. Kenya's taking over. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do with this tonight. I can't even sign it because it's all wet right now, but that's okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining and making the end to my Wednesday fantastic. This is exactly what I needed. Not that my day was rough or tough, but it was a stressful day today, and I told everybody at work I'm really looking forward. Come on, Dory, get back there. I'm really looking forward to doing this because this is such an enjoyable time, and you guys have helped to make it enjoyable for me. So for that, thank you very much. This kind of took a little longer to get into than I thought it was going to, but I think in the end we got a painting that looks really nice. Like I said, I'm going to hang it on the wall in my office, and I bet I'm going to get a million comments on it. I hope that you all have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope you're able to join me back here next week when we try to do this all over again. Until then, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.